Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode on my channel. Today, I want to talk about something that a lot of you are probably wrestling with, even if you don't have a name for it. The noise of intrusive thoughts and mental rumination. Let's start with a real story. A while back, a friend of mine called me at midnight. His voice was full of stress, and he said, "I can't sleep. I've been in bed since 10, but my mind won't calm down for a second." I asked what happened, and he said, "Today at work, I made a small mistake. I sent an email late. Now I keep thinking my boss must think I'm lazy. My coworkers are probably talking behind my back. And if this keeps up, I might even get fired." I told him, "But you always do your job well. It was just a tiny slip up." He replied, "I know, but I can't stop my thoughts. It's like my mind is stuck in this loop." Before we knew it, it was 1 and he was still repeating the same story. This is exactly what we call rumination, when your mind locks onto a negative thought like a scratched record and won't let you find peace. Here's another example. Imagine you're walking around your house, and suddenly you remember something awkward you said at a party 2 weeks ago. You start telling yourself, "Why did I say that? Everyone must think I'm so thoughtless. If I'd answered differently, they'd have a better opinion of me." Then you snap out of it and realize you've been pacing around for 20 minutes, drowning in that thought. That's the mental noise that swoops in and steals your calm. In today's busy world, where we face stress and pressure every day, these intrusive thoughts have become all too common. How many of you have felt this? Say to yourself, "Yeah, that's me." Today, we're going to figure out what this noise is, where it comes from, why it bothers us so much, and most importantly, how we can quiet it down. So stick with me until the end. Okay, let's dive a little deeper and see what's happening in our minds from a scientific perspective. In psychology, this repetition of negative, intrusive thoughts is called rumination. These thoughts usually fall into 3 categories: past mistakes, worries about the future, or judgments we make about ourselves. A 2013 study in the Clinical Psychology Review showed that rumination is a key factor in anxiety and depression. In fact, people who ruminate a lot are up to 4 times more likely to develop depression. But why does this happen? In our brains, there's a neural network called the default mode network, DMN. It kicks in when we're not doing anything, like when we're lying in bed or doing routine tasks like washing dishes. Its job is to take us into the world of self-reflection, thinking about the past and the future. A 2015 study using fMRI scans found that in people who ruminate, this network becomes hyperactive. It's like a repeat button gets switched on in their brain and they can't turn it off. Then another part of the brain jumps in, the amygdala, our emotional center. In an experiment at the University of Michigan, they asked people to think about an upsetting memory while scanning their brains. They saw the amygdala light up like a bright bulb, amplifying negative emotions. This means rumination doesn't just occupy our minds. It intensifies negative feelings and traps us in a stressful cycle. When we ruminate, a chemical called cortisol, our stress hormone, gets released in higher amounts. Too much cortisol can damage the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. That's why people who overthink often feel like their memory's slipping or they can't focus well. Here's something even more interesting. A 2018 study in the journal Sleep found that people who ruminate for more than 2 hours a day are 30% more likely to suffer from insomnia. This insomnia creates a vicious cycle because lack of sleep makes us ruminate even more the next day. A 2020 study even showed that rumination can weaken the immune system and increase the risk of heart disease by up to 20%. So this isn't just a mental issue, it affects our bodies too. Now, let's look at a cool theory, the thought suppression theory. It says that when we try to push an intrusive thought away, it gets worse. For example, if you tell yourself, "Don't think about that mistake in the meeting," your mind fixates on it even more. This is called the rebound effect. In a famous 1980s experiment called the white bear study, people were told not to think about a white bear and to ring a bell if they did. The result? Those who try not to think about it rang the bell way more. This shows suppression doesn't work. We need a different approach. One more thing. A 2019 study found that women ruminate about 5 times more than men, possibly due to hormonal differences and social pressures. All this is to say that mental noise isn't simple. It's a complex phenomenon that involves our brain, our body, and our lives. Now that we know what this noise is and how it works, let's talk solutions. The good news? With a few practical, science-backed techniques, we could turn down the volume and calm our minds. I've tried these myself and recommended them to others. They work. Let's go through them together. Technique 1. Mindfulness meditation. This one's simple but powerful. Just sit in a quiet spot for 5 to 10 minutes a day, close your eyes, and focus on your breathing. If an intrusive thought pops up, label it like this is a thought, then return to your breath. A 2016 study in the Journal of Neuroscience showed that mindfulness meditation reduces default mode network activity by up to 40%. I tried it once when I was overthinking an argument with a friend. After 5 minutes, my mind felt lighter. Technique 2. 4-7-8 breathing. This is great for when your mind's driving you crazy. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7, and exhale slowly for 8. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system and lowers stress. A 2019 study found it can reduce anxiety by 25%. I tested it during a hectic day when I was stressed about unfinished tasks. After 3 rounds, my heartbeat slowed down. Technique 3. Thought dumping. When your mind gets cluttered, grab a pen and paper and write down everything swirling in there. It doesn't have to be neat, just unload. Like, I'm thinking about that work mistake and scared I'll get fired. A 2019 study showed that people who did this for 10 minutes daily had 30% less rumination after a month. I tried it once when I was fixating on an old decision. Writing it out felt like my brain said, okay, done, next. Technique 4. Cognitive restructuring. This comes from cognitive psychology. When a negative thought hits, like I'll never succeed, ask yourself, is this really true? What's the evidence? Then give yourself a logical answer like, I did well on that project yesterday. A 2020 study found this cuts rumination by 35%. My friend once said, I think I always lose arguments. I told him to try this. He remembered winning a family debate the week before and said, you're right, I feel better. Technique 5. Focus on the present when you're doing something. Fully immerse yourself in it. If you're drinking coffee, notice the taste and warmth of the cup. If you're walking, listen to the birds. In a study, people who did this reported 50% fewer intrusive thoughts. I tried it while washing dishes. Instead of stressing about work, I focused on the sound of water and soap. My mind actually calmed down. Advanced technique. Worry scheduling. Set a specific time each day, like 15 minutes in the afternoon, to think about your worries. When a thought pops up outside that time, tell yourself, I'll think about this later. This organizes your mind. A 2017 study showed it reduces rumination by 28%. Okay, this noise from intrusive thoughts and rumination can really wear us down, but we have the power to take control. Your mind's like a garden. If you tend to it, it'll bloom with flowers. If you neglect it, weeds take over. Here's a challenge for tonight. Before bed, do 5 minutes of mindfulness meditation. If a pesky thought comes up, smile at it and let it go. Or try the 4-7-8 breathing technique if you prefer. Let me know in the comments how it felt, which technique you tried, and how it worked. If you've got your own trick for quieting your mind, share it so others can benefit too. And as always, thank yourself for listening to this. Because if you listen to Vin, you don't need to care anymore. Vin is watching over you. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. I hope these tips help you find a calmer mind. Until the next video, take care of yourselves and don't let this noise bring you down.